Good hello friends, my name is Mel. The sun is setting and we have some series to talk about. Welcome to, I guess, the second video and trying to figure out what my 2023 goals are going to be. I am going into this year very loose, very easygoing, not trying to stress myself out. And so I have a list of 14 series that I would like to either continue or start this year. I'm obviously going to prioritize the series that I have already started, and I am like a good chunk of the way through. I want to complete these things. But there are also series on this list that have been on my TBR for forever. I either own all of them already, or they're just series that I'm curious about that I've been wanting to read for quite some time. So let's go ahead and hop in to some of the priority series, which I don't even know where to start. Okay, I've talked about this one I feel like a million and one times, but The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've read book 1, but I need to read books 2, 3, 3.5, and 4. I own all three, or the first 3 books, and I've read the prequel novella, The Pale Dreamer, I believe it's what it's called. I also have it on my Kindle. So the plan is to read the Kindle version of The Pale Dreamer, hop back into The Bone Season and reread this. I've said this before. You can see, I started reading this at some point. I don't know why I stopped. I think this might have been one of the books that I had at my apartment, my first apartment, which is why it never got read. But we're not going to talk about that. It's just going to be the fact that I own this book, I read the first book, I love the first book, and I need to continue the series because there's a lot that I need to catch up on. The next one that I'm going to mention is actually a book that I recently finished and a series that I recently got into, and that is going to be the Secret Shanghai series. I just recently read Foul Lady Fortune and I loved it. So I am really looking forward to the novella that's going to gap the worlds between These Violent Delights and Foul Lady Fortune. I forget what the name of the book is called. I'm sure the word violent or poison or death or imminent tragedy is in the title, but I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen right now. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what happened in between the years of the first 2 books and the ongoing Foul Lady Fortune series. So very excited for this. Extremely excited for the sequel to Foul Lady Fortune as well, but I don't know if we'll get that until, or like a reveal at least, until mid to late this year. I don't really have my hopes up in terms of seeing anything from the Foul Lady Fortune series in particular, but I'm really excited to get to that novella. Continuing on with some of the books that I have started, most recently Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo just came out, which is the sequel to Ninth House. I remember really enjoying Ninth House, but if I'm gonna be honest, I don't fully remember it, and I just think I read it at a bad time. So I do want to reread Ninth House before reading Hellbent. That is part of the goal. I also don't want to purchase Hellbent until I actually read Ninth House again physically, and I want to tab it up and stuff. I know for a fact I want to buy Hellbent, but I'm not gonna let myself and let more unread books pile up, because I counted today and I'm at like 35 books or something like that that are unread physically. So I would like to keep that number as low as possible and not buy more books and sabotage myself going into the new year. So Ninth House, Hellbent on the TBR probably for next month realistically, but I am super excited to see what happens next in this world. The next one is going to be one that a few people are going to be surprised that I haven't picked up and continued, and that's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't know why I'm struggling to pick up the next book in the series. Actually, that's a lie. I do know why. It's because I couldn't get through the first book without the audiobook. And then I feel like I didn't care as much about actually reading the story. And I feel like so much happened that I don't remember, and I don't have a great connection with the book. It makes me kind of sad to think that that was my first reading experience, yet I still rated this book so high. So it's just kind of this weird, I have weird feelings with this book. There's nothing with the reading experience, not with the book. But I do want to reread it, and I do want to understand what actually happened in this book so I can continue with the rest of the series that I own. All 3 hardbacks are on my top shelf. They've been on my top shelf for I feel like over a year now, and I haven't read them. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. I would like to pick it up this year and finish it. I don't know. This is one that stresses me out. I am going into this year very loose, very easygoing, not trying to stress myself out, because I know how complicated it is, and I know I need to reread The Poppy War in order to understand the rest of the world and the rest of the series, but for some reason it feels so daunting. And finally, as part of the books that I own and the books that I've started, I gotta continue with the Crescent City series. House of Earth and Blood is the first one. I don't remember what the second one's called, but I know it's blue. Do I get points for knowing that it's blue? You guys remember, I'll link it up here. I did an entire reading vlog on this. It took me like 2 months to read this book because I was just so busy between work and school and living in an apartment for the first time and like living with other people and having other friends that are constantly like at my disposal. So I should reread this as well. I didn't even tab it up. I think I like listened to this partially on audio. I don't fully remember it, but it's Sarah J Maas. Sarah J Maas is the reason that I got into, oh my god, that reminds me, there is a book on this list that I have not added, which is a perfect segue. But Sarah J Maas is the reason I started reading again. So I would like to not only continue this, but also continue with book 4 in the ACOTAR series. If I'm gonna be completely honest, the only reason I haven't bought it yet is because I absolutely hate the new covers. And I could be in the minority on this. I don't remember what the general populace's opinion was, but I remember literally being like, this is disgusting. I'm so mad. My covers aren't gonna match. It's not gonna look good on my bookshelf. So I think I'm going to separate them on my shelves with the House of Earth and Blood or the Crescent City series because they feel like 2 separate times and like 2 different eras of my readings. So I think that'll work out nicely, but I feel like that one's not super high on the priority list. ACOTAR, I think, needs a full reread. And I don't see that happening this year, if I'm gonna be 100% honest. Because there are just so many more books to read. There are so many more. Why would I read it? But I don't know, I've done crazier things. So moving on to some series that I own but have not started yet. The first is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, starting with the 5th season. I bought the box set of this super cheap, like a year and a half ago probably. And I really do want to read 5th season, but I also want to finish the other series, the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin as well, because I read book 1 and I don't know why I stopped. I don't even own book 1. So I have no idea why I read the Inheritance series. Regardless, N.K. Jemisin is one that I want to read this year. As well as Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is the... I only own book 1. I'm pretty sure this was gifted to me, like for my birthday or something. Elena gifted this to me. She loved this book, and I mean, I have it. I mean, she's a chunky paperback, which I appreciate. It's almost 500 pages long. I would like to get to this, but again, I only own book 1, so I don't feel like it's as much of a priority in comparison to the books that I own the entire trilogy or the entire series for already. In the same realm of those books, I am a massive fan of Caraval. The Caraval trilogy has my heart. Stephanie Garber did come out with the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and so book 1 and 2 are out. I have not read book 1 nor 2, so that is one that I am excited for, but not necessarily rushing into. Heard nothing but great things. Very much still the same style as Caraval. We're following Jax, my sweet boy, so I'm very excited to be back in that world, but I think I need to be like in the right headspace for it, kind of prepared to consume something like that. And honestly, I'm going to want to own it. So it goes back to the fact that if I don't own the book, I'm not gonna go buy it and let it just sit on my shelves. Another one that I don't talk about very much on my channel is the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I read book 1 like 2 years ago, a year ago, and I loved it. I had so much fun with it. I flew through, I ate that bitch up. However, I think I have book 2 on my Kindle or Apple Books. I don't remember which one I bought it on, but I have it. So I want to read book 2 and 3 in that series because I did enjoy it, but that'll be like one that I forget about considering the fact that it's on my Kindle or ebook or whatever. It's an e-reader book, it's an ebook. It's one that I just keep forgetting. I like read and didn't continue, and that I don't think I need to read. The first one, I remember enough details from the first one that I think I would be able to just jump into book 2. If not, I'll read like a quick recap, because that is not a book that I'm going to waste my time rereading when I don't feel like I would get the same as if I were to read from a fantasy book. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. In the same realm is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. I love the Saga graphic novels. Volume 10 came out last year, this year, I don't know when, but I saw it. And so I just need to find where to read it. I read all the Saga volumes through my library. They don't have volume 10 yet, so that might just be something that I wait for and kind of monitor for and see when that comes into the e-library. And the final book in this category, if you will, the books I've kind of started digitally but don't own. Love Lists and Fancy Ship series with book 2, Love and Last Resorts. I read Love Lists and Fancy Ships over audio this past year and I loved it. It was so much fun. The second book, this is a romance series, so the second book follows our main character's best friend. I'm very excited to listen to it over audio, so that'll happen sometime in the next couple weeks. Now I have 2 more series on this list that I don't own in physical, digital, whatever. I have never touched, but they're still on my TBR. And that includes the Hot and Hammered series by Tessa Bailey. I've heard nothing but great things about this. I want to read it. Odds are it'll be an audio read. Don't see myself owning these books for any particular reason. However, I did say that with It Happened One Summer, and I am highly considering buying that duology because I loved it so much and I love Tessa Bailey's writing so much. So you never know. There'll definitely be books that I listen to over audio. And the final book on this series is the Red Rising Saga by Pierce Brown. I have been told that if I love sci-fi the way that I do, then I will love Red Rising. And quite frankly, it is long overdue. I need to read Red Rising this year. It is going to be one of those books that I buy and I read the day of. I don't own it, but I want to own it because I have a feeling that I'm going to love it. That's 3 more books to add to this TBR. So we're going to count all. Are we ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
31 books, which I'm sure there are more series that I am like totally forgetting. Based on the ones that I can remember, the ones that I want to prioritize, 31 books is what I have to read if I want to be caught up with all the series that I've started this year, which is hilarious considering the fact that my reading goal is 33. Like if I only read the series that I want to read, I would finish my reading goal. Will I do it? I hope so. For my sake, at least the books that I own. Like, there are so many books that I own that I need to finish. And quite frankly, I want to get my physical TBR down. So if focusing on series this year is the vibe, so be it. But again, going into 2023, very loose, very easygoing. We're not gonna stress ourselves out this year. I'm super excited. Let me know what series you guys are reading. Is there anything that has piqued your interest from my list that you're like absolutely surprised that I haven't read yet? Because I'm sure there's going to be some. Are there some books that you are looking forward to that I didn't mention? I would love to know. So with that being said, and a spreadsheet to keep me accountable, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, I'll catch you next time.